could speak with honesty, I'm scared of post-modernity, of Pomo's go at poetry that says, let's screw the rules. I love traditionality. It's how poems were taught to me, and it's not how poems ought to be, these new fandangled rules. Like, poems made on Twitter, do you wonder why I'm bitter? By default, they must be shitter. You've only got 150 letters. And how should they be read? How do you quantify a hashtag? Or an emoticon? Where's the beat? Where's the rhythm? What's going on? So, like, for me, will always be Ex-Dee, 2 syllables, but it could be read instead as cringey-smile, or smiley-cringe, or pained laugh, or just cringe, because everyone brings their own twinge of meaning to the text that they are reading. That just depends how they're leaning that day. And that's a fairly simple one. Let's imagine, just for fun, an emoji any group of 3 could argue what it's meant to be. I'll show it now to you. The emoji I mean is... and depends on what you think it means, 3 potential rhymes with it. But let's have real talk, just some. If you call it chocolate ice cream, you're kind of fucking dumb. So, who's to say, sans beaten rhyme, you're reading what the author said? The Pomo go at written line, I fear, has left the old ways dead. And so we cage tradition. Not out of cruel volition, but rather keen ambition to keep it safe, 'cause we're all wishing to not be made obsolete. So that was my first ever poem that I've recorded in front of a camera. That was an odd experience. I did try recording this last night, but I couldn't get a good angle for the camera and it was sort of angled up, so I looked massively fat. That was not fun. The poem itself, I keep looking down because I've got it here open in front of me on the computer, is my response, I guess, to a lot of the things that we've learned in our class so far. First of all, I've performed it on camera because our tutor, after everything I've read, has noted that it sounds like performance poetry, so we've worked out that if I record the submission for this week, it will probably capture the essence of the poem a bit more. I was working originally with the idea of just symbols in text and how people read them. So this came about when I was doing my after-school tutoring, and someone put an equal sign into their poem. I was teaching a kid to write a poem, and they put an equal sign in it, and my mind was like, oh, I wonder how you would read that, an equal sign. Would you read it as equals? Because I don't. When I just see a symbol like that, my mind actually reads it completely blankly because the meaning is already processed in my head. And I thought, well, okay, I could write a pretty decent poem about this. But then during class, we've talked a lot about Twitter poems made for the new online age, and basically the old forms going obsolete, and I thought I would write about that, which is why I've mentioned specifically Twitter poems, and I've decided to use emojis. The choice to use emojis was based on that one emoji, the shit emoji, poo emoji, or to some people chocolate ice cream emoji, because it is something where people have such a strange divergent split in meaning. It could be shit or it could be chocolate ice cream. And I'm like, well, it's quite obviously shit, but okay, let's pretend you're right. How would you read this poem? And that stanza, where I have written, I'll show it now to you, depends on what you think it means, 3 potential rhymes with it. Each of those 3 lines could rhyme with whatever you thought that emoji would be. unless you thought it was crap. And that was a pretty fun stanza to write. I've also put in a few other things where depends on how you read what's left in there. So for example, in the line, all you get's 150 letters, I've left 150 in its numeric notation, which could mean that you would read it as 150, which gets you 3 extra syllables in the line. Syllable count is something that I pay a lot of attention to, because I was taught by traditionalists where it was very specifically write in these beats, write with these counts, don't deviate from those lines. So whenever I'm reading or writing poetry, I do pay attention to those a lot. It's a very interesting process. But I had a lot of fun writing the poem. I had a decent amount of fun performing it. I hope you enjoyed hearing it and listening to it. I will see my classmates in class, and the rest of you, who knows? Bye.